fight. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
The rivalry between legendary boxer Mike Tyson and Mitch Blood Green was one that went on for the longest time, and regardless of the many times they went head-to-head in the ring, 10 rounds of boxing just wasn't enough to dissolve this beef, so much so that a few years later, they had a final face-off on the streets of Harlem, New York. Interestingly, this fight lasted a lot shorter than any of their other encounters. In Pat Putnam's words, this fight was gunfighter quick. However, the results were a lot worse compared to any of their fights. Want to find out how this went down? Stick around till the end of the video. Following the fight between Tyson and Tillis in 1986 that ended in a 10-round decision, Tyson was indeed shaken. These two heavyweights fought way past the expectations of the boxing fans and the bookmakers. This had been one of the first fights that stretched Tyson more than ever, as his last 19 matches had been finished in the opening 2 or 3 rounds. And so, many other heavyweights found this as motivation to challenge the teenage dynamo early enough. The plan was simply to end the hype surrounding Tyson and earn the highest possible payday aside from a championship fight. Among these heavyweight boxers was Mitch Blood Green.
I got Mike Tyson. Don't pay your money to see Tyson fight no has-been carved fairy tale wheel. He's a glass Joe. He's a bum. I am the only heavyweight that never knocked.
Green was one of the few fighters that made use of the new age digital camcorders to relay his message to his fans. Although at the time, there was no social media at the time, Green's clips were usually aired on local news stations and televised sports networks like HBO during a broadcast. There were two things clear in these videos. One was the constant muscle flexing, and the other was the homophobic slurs. Interestingly, all of these were enough to get him a shot against the hottest prospect on the roster. Taking a quick look at the life of Mitch Green, young Green grew up on the tough streets of Detroit. He was a well-known player in the 1970s New York gang warfare, and at the age of 17, Green saw his father get murdered in an ugly Western-style quick-draw shootout. And just a few moments later, he was shot twice, but thankfully, he escaped with non-fatal injuries. After having such an experience, Green was determined to leave his gang life and decided to join the UBA boxing gym in New York. However, it was already late, as his connection to the street was already prominent, so much so that the NYPD hailed him the King of New York Street, considering the role he occupied as a gang leader in the Deadly Bloods crew. But soon, things began to change as his reputation slowly shifted from being just a gang leader to a talented amateur boxer. Green quickly started accumulating a good number of tournament successes, and of these successes were several New York Golden Gloves. In 1980, Green began his professional boxing career and once again began gaining wins against fighters like Jumbo Cummings. However, in 1985, Trevor Berbick became the first man to successfully break Green's winning streak. During this fight, Green put his best foot forward and put up a fight, but lost by a majority decision. Now at this point, both Tyson and Green were very close to the world title shot, and so regardless of the stunts, both fighters were likely to get in a ring together. Although, we can say that Green's constant trash talk helped him to gather more attention to the fight. Even more, it got Tyson's attention to the point of admitting that he hated the ugly MFer. And finally, in May 1986, Tyson and Green finally saw head-to-head in the boxing ring at Madison Square Garden. This was Tyson's first fight at the renowned boxing venue. This was also the first fight to be covered by a large television network. However, none of this changed Tyson's no-robe, no-socks tradition. According to Tyson, this attire made him feel like a gladiator. Tyson was there strictly for business and had a personal beef he needed to settle with Green. After flexing all the muscle in his videos and trash-talking, the Green the world saw in the ring wasn't looking as confident anymore. Although Green had the physical advantage in the ring, all that fell apart immediately after his mouth guard was punched out of his mouth. Tyson's incredible boxing skills and speed completely made up for Green's physical advantage. All of these quickly dragged the 6'5" Green into survival mode. In the third round, Green's mouth guard was seen flying out of his mouth yet again after Tyson's power punch met his jaw. Just then, Tyson began to make fun of his opponent for having such a wide mouth as he continued to stalk him around the ring. Tyson was giving Green no room to breathe while landing several mighty power punches with a smile on his face. In the closing stages of the fight, it was already clear that all the fans were awaiting was a conclusion. Even Tyson seemed to have had his mind somewhere else as he strangely gave his trainer, Kevin Rooney, a kiss on his head while he tried to share strategies for the fight with him. Tyson's plan for an ending was to score a knockout. However, Green's reluctance to engage made it easier for him to run for his safety. This was a major reason why he lost 9 out of 10 of the rounds on the general scorecards. According to Tyson, he intentionally dragged the fight on to the 10th round to punish Green. We can't say for sure how true this is, but one thing was certain, and that was the fact that Green's pride was terribly hurt. After this major L, Green ended his boxing career and found his way back to the streets to make money from selling drugs. Green was certain that the day would come when he'll get Tyson back in the ring. Unfortunately, while Green continued to be inactive in the sport, Tyson's career continued to progress to becoming one of the most dominant heavyweight champions in history. Tyson remained undefeated and undisputed, and so he had gone past fighting people like Mitch Green. However, a couple of years after their fight, these two men had another encounter, but this time around it was in the streets. Green's element. It was the early hours of August 23, 1988. Green had been told that Tyson was shopping at a local clothing store very close to his domain. Tyson had traveled a long way to pick up his brand new luxury leather jacket, which his friend had handmade at Dapper Dams. Tyson had gone to the store earlier in the day and fitted some of the clothes. The plan was for him to come later, but Tyson and his friends decided to hang out and have a few drinks or more in D.C., and so they drove all the way back to Dapper to pick up the clothes. And as they were all together, they were laughing and talking. But all of a sudden, everyone got quiet and stopped laughing. As Tyson turned around, still laughing, he noticed Mitch Green's presence and how the other guys were scared. Apparently, while they were all laughing and talking, Green had burst into the place high on angel dust. He then gave Tyson the option of a rematch or completely emptying his pockets on the spot. In the space of seconds, Green had ripped Tyson's pockets and his money was all over the floor. And so, the only thing on Tyson's mind was to fight Green, and immediately, both men found themselves in the street, and Tyson began pounding at Green over and over again. According to Tyson and even other spectators, the fight was very quick but violent. So much so that in the space of 15 to 20 seconds, Tyson had given Green a broken eye socket after dropping him on the pavement with a blow. While there's no real footage of this fight, the many accounts of the incidents all align, especially that of Tyson, which he gave in a podcast interview. However, as you would expect, Green's account was the only one that didn't align with the rest. Green had claimed that Tyson sucker punched him and ran away. Green's side of the story quickly became mainstream news around the world, and he was certain that this would be enough to get Tyson back in the ring with him. But unfortunately, that wasn't possible since Green had destroyed his relationship with the promoters of the sport after making violent threats to Don King. Hence, he was shadow banned from earning any more in the ring. Following Green's several failed attempts at a rematch with Tyson, his next line of action was to file a civil lawsuit for $20 million due to the damage done to his face during the street fight. Unfortunately, this also fell through, but thankfully, the former gang leader won the case and was given a small sum of $45,000. This was very close to his earning during their professional fight in 1986. 7 years after this experience, Green found his way back to the ring, but as you would expect, he turned out to be a shell of what he used to be, until in 2005, he decided to hang his gloves. As of 2022, Green is still a prominent figure, but now channels his energy into his love for Christianity. While Green still has his beef with Tyson, we can agree that both men have moved on, and whenever the topic is mentioned, they both seem to downplay the popular 30-year rivalry. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell for more updates. See you in the next video.